Introduction to Igbo verbs. We begin our lessons on Igbo verbs with the simplest form of a verb, which is the infinitive form. The infinitive form means the verb has no mood or tense. For example, to do. So when a verb has to puts a verb in its simplest form. So to do in Igbo is ime. So the simplest form of this verb to do is do, which in Igbo is me. Me. So to put do in mood or in tense, you have did, doing, does, done, and the rest. But we're not discussing that now. We're just focusing on the simplest form, which is do. Do in Igbo is me. Other examples: to drink. The simplest form is drink. To drink is engo. Engo. So the simplest form here is ngo. Ngo. To eat is iri. Iri. So eat is the simplest form of this verb, and ri is the simplest form in Igbo. To see is ehu. Ehu. See is the simplest form. In Igbo, it is hu. Hu. To hear is eno. Eno. So here is the simplest form. No is the simplest form in Igbo. What that means is, since to puts a verb in its simplest form in English, in Igbo, a or e will put it in its simplest form. So to hear, eno, e puts the verb to hear in its simplest form in Igbo. So the choice of whether to use a or e will depend on vowel harmony. So see my lesson on vowel harmony. The imperative mood. The imperative mood of a verb is used to give command or make requests. For example, do it. Meya. Remember, me is the simplest form of the verb do in Igbo. To make it imperative, to give command or make request, you add another e. That is a in Igbo. So it becomes meya. Drink water. Ngo mmiri. Ngo is the simplest form of this verb. The imperative form adds o to the end. It becomes ngo mmiri. Eat the food. Rie nri ahụ. Ri is the simplest form for eat. To make requests, you add e. Rie nri ahụ. Climb a tree. Ria elu osisi. Ri is the verb for climb. To give command, you add a. It becomes ria elu osisi. Talk about rainfall. Kwuo maka mmiri ozuzo. Kwuo. Ku is talk, is the verb for talk in its simplest form. To give command, you add o. It becomes kwuo. Kwuo maka mmiri ozuzo. So the rule here is this: the simplest form, when the simplest form of the verb ends in a or e, you add a to the end to make it imperative or to give command. If the simplest form of the verb ends in a or e, as we saw in meya, then you add a to the end. If it ends in o or u, you add o to the end, like in kwuo maka mmiri ozuzo. If the simplest form of the verb ends in o, or o, you add o to the end, as we saw in ṅụọ mmiri, drink water. Now, still on the imperative mode, but now you're giving command not to do something. That's the negative side. So instead of saying do it, now you say don't do it, or you say do not do it. So do not do it is emelaya. Emelaya. Me, which is the simplest form of the verb to do, is still present here. Do not drink water. Aṅụla mmiri. Ṅụ is still the simplest form of the verb to drink in Igbo. Do not eat the food. Erila nri ahụ. Ri is the verb for eat in Igbo. So the rule for the imperative mood in the negative form is you affix a to the beginning of the verb in its simplest form, which we normally call the verb root. The verb root, the SVR. That is the simple verb root, the verb in its simplest form. You add a to the beginning and then la to the end if the verb has vowels with light sound. So if the verb is light, example is aṅụla mmiri ahụ. O is a light vowel, so you prefix a, then the verb, and then la as the suffix. If the verb is heavy, that is, if the verb has heavy vowels, as in do is me. A is a heavy vowel, so that is a heavy verb. So you prefix a to the beginning and then la to the end. So that puts it in the negative form. So that is the rule here. Okay. Thank you for listening.